right. I need a sip of this Gatorade Propel water. I would like to talk about what I think is most likely to happen here with the Indiana Pacers in the future. Because I'm just going to call it what it is, man. I happen to know some things about my YouTube channel, and I've like refrained from making this video because this is what I think will actually happen. Like, realistically is what I think will happen. The Karl-Anthony Towns thing is like wishful thinking, but I'd like to make a video and talk about the things that I think will actually happen with the Indiana Pacers. Like, not just beyond this upcoming season, but next offseason. And this is a video that I would encourage all of you to actually like save for later and come back to it in a year. Because this is stuff that I think is very likely to happen. Like, if I were a betting man, like this is where I'd put my money. So I've been on the Karl-Anthony Towns train lately. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think he's a great offensive player. I think with the moves that we've made in the offseason, adding a guy like Karl-Anthony Towns would put us over the top. It would easily make us a playoff team immediately. Like, I think it would easily put us inside the top 6 as far as seeding in the Eastern Conference. But I understand why the front office would be hesitant to do that, because he gets paid so much money, and it's like, once you do that, it's like, you know, he's getting paid $50 and $60 million. Like, you would really have to give up a lot of depth for him, because that's really what Minnesota needs. Like, they just signed Anthony Edwards to a 5-year, $260 million contract. Right now, like, after this extension, I'm pretty sure Minnesota has the highest luxury tax bill of any team in the NBA. Like, they've got, 3 guys on their roster making over 230 bills. So, like, it's just, we're at a point now where it's like, they're going to have to trade somebody. And it's wishful thinking for me as a Pacers fan. Like, I would like a decent offensive center. But while I understand I would love Karl-Anthony Towns, I understand that may not be exactly realistic. Even if I do think we have the pieces to make a trade like that work, I understand why the front office would be hesitant to do it because of just the cap hit as a whole. So I'm going to talk about some shit that I think is actually going to happen. Tyrese Halliburton got a 5-year, $260 million extension. He's our guy. Okay, like that's set in stone. This upcoming season, I think we'll be a playoff team. I think our record will be something like 41-41. Maybe we'll be a play-in team, 40-42, something in that ballpark. Okay, and that's obviously pending on like everything goes fine, right? I would like to see us trade for somebody to win now. But I understand why the front office might not be doing that. So there's 2 guys out there that I think are definitely going to be in like at least on our team, if not by the trade deadline, by next offseason. And that is OG Anunoby and DeAndre Ayton. And I've refrained from making this because the fact of the matter is, like, I think DeAndre Ayton would be better on our team. Don't get me wrong. I understand there's Pacers fans that like love him. I understand there's Pacers fans that hate him. You know, I understand that like people say he's not a significant upgrade over Miles Turner, and I can agree with that. Like, he's good, but he's not like a guy who's gonna impact winning. Like, I just don't think he's gonna impact winning as much as people think, unless we put the ball in his hands more. But you really don't know until until you try it. But the reason I've been on the Karl-Anthony Towns train is because, like, we know what Karl-Anthony Towns can do when you put the ball in his hands. He's a very, very good offensive center. And in a league right now where the 3, like, runner-ups, like, out of all the guys running for MVP last year, like 3 of them are front court players in Giannis, Jokic, and Embiid. And I don't think defense at the center position matters as much as Pacers fans like to think it does. I think really what you have to do is guard play. Like, if you have good guard play in the NBA, like, you'll win games. It's just like college basketball. If you have good guard play, you'll win. And the league is flooded with guards. So it's just the idea, like, we're at a point now where, like, having a good center is a luxury, or a center that's good on offense is a kind of a luxury. And there's not many in the NBA. You know, like, I also understand, like, there's a lot of people who want to keep Miles because of how good he is defensively, but I think I honestly believe, like, his defensive prominence does not make up for what he lacks on the offensive end. And you know what? That's fine. He's on a team-friendly deal. I get why we keep him. I get why the front office keeps him. Like, I understand it. It's not like I'm just out here just saying, like, oh, fuck it, trade Miles, he's horrible. Like, I just don't think we can win with him as our center on offense unless he takes some significant stride forward this upcoming year. So the thing is, we're at a point now where it's like we're coming up on some expiring contracts. TJ McConnell's a guy that's probably going to get lost. I mean, we've got 15 guys on our roster. We're going to have to do some addition by subtraction shit here eventually at some point. And I think that Miles Turner and Buddy Hield are both going to get traded probably to the Phoenix Suns for DeAndre Ayton at some point in time. DeAndre Ayton obviously wants to play with Tyrese Halliburton. He wanted to come play for the Pacers. I mean, he was ready to sign a 4-year, $133 million extension. I honestly don't think it's a matter of if DeAndre Ayton will end up an Indiana Pacer, but a matter of when he will end up an Indiana Pacer. So that's the first thing, is DeAndre Ayton. And then once we go into the next offseason, OG Anunoby is an unrestricted free agent. He does not want to play in Toronto, okay? Toronto has fucked up the OG Anunoby trade so bad that it's at a point now where it's like, if we're the Pacers, why trade for him? Like, when we know we can sign him in the next offseason. So it just also, like, the thing I'm saying is, by this time, right, depending on how Obi Toppin does, I think Obi Toppin's going to excel as a guy at our 4. I have a feeling that in a year and a half, 2 years from now, our roster is going to look like Tyrese Halliburton, Benedict Mathurin, OG Anunoby, Obi Toppin, and DeAndre Ayton. And I really don't think that's a bad roster. Like, I don't think that's a bad starting 5. And we'll still have Andrew Nembhard at that point. Jarris Walker can come back. I think that's really what the front office is, like, really setting up for. Because, I mean, like, for me, like I said, the Karl-Anthony Towns thing is wishful thinking. Like, I think Cat would be fucking phenomenal. But if they hold out for something like that, Ayton and OG Anunoby, I understand why they would do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, OG's a great defender, solid offensive player. He brings the 3-and-D wing that we need. Bruce Brown Jr. is also on a team option for the following year. So, like, really, if we needed to create cap space and, we have Bruce Brown Jr. on a 1-year deal, we can just decline his team option and then free up $20 million in cap. So it's like, we have a lot of flexibility, and I honestly believe that's what we're doing. Like, if you want my honest opinion on it, like, I feel like we're waiting it out. Give Benedict Mathurin another year to grow. Yeah, we keep Miles until the trade deadline, unless DeAndre Ayton becomes available. But it's just the idea, like, does that make us a championship team, though? That's the thing that I'm worried about, is, like, I understand the concerns with Karl-Anthony Towns as far as the amount of money he gets paid. I really do. It just, for me, I think, like, he's got the talent level of an Embiid and a Jokic, and that's why I like him so much. Jokic is not a good defender, okay? Like, I'm just going to call it what it is. Like, Nikola Jokic is not a good defensive player as far as, like, one-on-one defender, but he's good enough for his team to win a championship. And I think Karl-Anthony Towns is that good as well. Like, I think he has the ability to be that good. And so that's why I was just so high on it. But I really think in the next couple years here, we're going to have, like, a pretty star-studded lineup. And you know what? Maybe it is enough. Maybe having Obi Toppin come into his own and Benedict Mathurin come into his own, and then adding OG Anunoby and DeAndre Ayton to something like that would benefit us a lot. And I honestly think, like, that's the most realistic path to success at this point. Like, it seems like, for whatever reason, whatever the fan base wants, we tend to get. Like, we've wanted Obi Toppin for God knows how long, and, like, rumors started about that, and now all of a sudden we got him for 2 future second-round picks. There was rumors about DeAndre Ayton and stuff like that, and then we offered him the contract. And like, there's the links with OG Anunoby. There's been video clips of OG Anunoby whispering things into Tyrese Halliburton's ear whenever we play the Raptors and stuff like that, like covering up his mouth and talking. I really think OG Anunoby wants to play with Tyrese Halliburton, and I think DeAndre Ayton also wants to play with Tyrese Halliburton. So, and on top of it, once you do that, all the guys you have on your roster are young. Like, there's no age complaints there. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I think is most likely to happen. If I were a betting man, that's what I would put my money on. But it's just the idea. Like, if we trade for Cat, we trade for Cat. But it's just the idea, like, I just think, like, the most likely scenario is that. Like, that's what I think is most likely to happen. Also, DeAndre Ayton's a lot easier, I think, to trade for. Because, not for nothing, but Minnesota and Phoenix are both lacking in depth severely, and we have that. So, really, it's a matter of what do we want. And I feel like from a front office perspective, like Chad Buchanan and Kevin Pritchard, they're going to want cap flexibility. That's something they're definitely going to want. And I think, having DeAndre Ayton, yeah. Is DeAndre Ayton overpaid? Yeah, sure. But it just still provides a lot more cap flexibility for DeAndre Ayton than it does for Karl-Anthony Towns. And, if you think about it too, like adding Karl-Anthony Towns is the difference between potentially signing OG Anunoby in the offseason next year and not signing him. So, I don't know, man. We'll have to wait and see. But I think this team's going to get very good in the next couple of years. I understand we have a bunch of young players and people want to see them grow. And it seems like also like the front office wants to see them grow as well. But if you're a Pacers fan, this year is probably going to be another underwhelming year a little bit depending on what the front office does. But like if I had to put my eggs in any basket, it's the idea that by the time the 2024-2025 NBA season rolls around, we're going to have OG Anunoby and DeAndre Ayton on our roster. So tell me what you guys think about this down below in the comment section below. A like helps me out. Subscribe if you guys want to see more on the Fast Break Report, and out of this motherfucker. Peace, guys.